Yo, what's good, everyone? It's Jack OATz the GOAT. Now I know, like, my background's been like different for like the past like 3 episodes or whatever. I just have a lot on my plate, especially as far as like videos go. I have so much shit to edit for my podcast, which you guys should subscribe to. But you know, other than that, you know, still teaching and all that. That hasn't really slowed down, even despite quarantine. Anyway, I just want to hit you guys some content because I know I'm pretty inconsistent on this channel. It takes a lot to put this stuff up, but I mean, as long as I'm not editing and you guys don't mind, then I guess I can still put some stuff up. But let's talk about, first off, this latest chapter. Now, these are unofficials, so I won't really be going over like what was said, but things that we saw, such as Vonika's blood magic, like, goddamn.
I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Pull up, say what's the deal, bruh? See how I lose my cool any second if they don't hear us. Many people will fear us. Say when you look in the mirror, don't you compare us to anything, they get embarrassed. Ha, ha, woo. So many people be talking like they want the problems or something. I noticed that all of you polish and all of you people get punished. It's hard to keep food on your stomach, to all of the hustle keep running. That's hard to stay humble with nothing. We're off of the jungle, we're bugging. So let me come down all of a sudden. I told you that we keep it buzzing. Ha, woo. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out. Bounce. I ain't feeling nothing cause I'm numbed out.
I didn't think we'd be seeing blood magic. I'm kind of stoked on it just to see how she applies it. Because the last time we saw blood magic, it was kind of broken. And the way the Witch Queen used it was, I mean, she slick used it pretty well. But it took a lot more manipulation in order for her to pull it off. But she ended up pulling it off. Where Vonika seems more of like an outright, you know, attack. So that's pretty interesting. On top of that, we have Noelle's new attire for battle. In the unofficial, she calls it the Valkyrie dress, mermaid something. Yeah, something. So the thought behind it is that people are kind of thinking that this is more of Undine or Laura Pachica, like kind of giving her that boost, and it very well could be, but it does kind of look like it's Noelle's own magic doing that, and it only really helps that Laura Pachica is setting up the stage for Noelle to really fight. But what does this do for Noelle? You know, it's obviously lacking defense, right? But I think it's okay for it to lack defense just because that spell is supposed to have Vonika's magic, or yeah, I guess specifically Vonika's magic, while it boosts Noelle's, since Noelle is compatible with water, obviously. So she's able to sacrifice some defense, meaning that she can take some hits, but she's probably also going to be really fast and really, really powerful. So I think it's a fair trade-off. What else did we have? We had Mimosa just kind of, you know, straight up messing with our frog demon dude, which is cool. I really want to see Mimosa, like, you know what I mean. I want to see her go like Mario Leona, like plant level. Like I don't know. I just want her to go off. I'm sick of the Mimosa haters. And then the one thing that got me in this chapter was just the silhouette of Sekre between Mimosa and Noelle right before they start fighting Vonika. Like, girl, we need you. Like, I don't know what they plan on doing with Sekre. She's probably going to come in clutch like she did in the Alpha arc. But to be honest, there's not much she can do to be a front line fighter. She's more of a support, which I'm sure we will see. Now, to get into that, we have to talk about what's going on as far as like the disciples and the relationship with Vonica. So Vonica's pretty much making sure her squad doesn't die. She's got their backs via this curse that she put on them. So no matter how much damage they sustain, and we even see Vonica striking her own member just because he was just like in the way, he doesn't die because that's how the curse works. Now, this curse, if we want to word it in a way that pushes my agenda here, this curse kind of puts a lock on death itself, right? See where I'm going? So what can happen here is that Sekre can maybe go around and, do a little tap. You are unlocked. There's no more curse. Maybe it works that way. I don't know. Because the only way these guys can beat any of the disciples or Vonica is with Asta's Demon Annihilator Sword. And right now, Asta's in the middle of something else. And it's not really looking too feasible for him to go from that fight and then help these guys out. Just doesn't look like it would work. So the next best thing would be someone who can actually unlock, locking spells and mechanisms. So that's what we might be able to see is Sekre come in clutch that way. So that gives them an opening to be able to, survive this shit, because it's looking a little bit wild. Now, that was pretty much it. Like, one of the craziest things we saw was the monozone plus the array. Like, that is just absurd. It's insanity. And that answers a question that a lot of us have been asking, by the way. Is it possible to make a monozone within a monozone? And although it's lower Pachicas, apparently, yeah, you can. Now, it'd be more interesting to see someone else's monozone with that, but we'll see. So, there was something, if you had me on Twitter, I was kind of raging about, but I was staying vague because I wanted to put it on a video because I haven't been posting and I miss you guys. So look, with Vonica's reveal on her magic and whatnot, it kind of got me thinking. There's one of two ways this is going down. The first one is the obvious one, which we'll just get right out the way. The first one is that she is the third Norn that we've been looking for. She is part of the Moria, and she would be a Tropos. Now, if you're not familiar with the Moria, they are the three sisters of fate, and in Norse mythology, they stand outside the realm of gods. They don't play by those rules. They are the rules. So as we see with people like Vanessa, she's able to literally bring her squad back to life. Like, you're bending the actual laws. Why? Because you are a law. Now, the next Norn that we have is potentially Gray, because let me give you the names first. So I told you a Tropos would be Vonica, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Clotho would be Vanessa. Clotho is the spinner of fates. And then there's Laxis, something like that. And she's the allotter, and what she does is she measures the thread of life that is given to another person. Now, for Gray's case, the place that we see this is right when she heals Gauche. Now, as far as we know, Gray's power is not really healing, it's transforming magic. Now, this was a bit different here because Gauche is obviously dying in the process of, and she in turn extends his life, thus allotting that thread of life that Gauche has already. So this could very well work. There's still some stuff Gray has to show us to like firmly put her on this list. But for as far as we've seen, she would make the most sense. Now then we go to Atropos, who could be Vonica. Now, Atropos is the cutter. She decides the manner of each person's death in Norse mythology. And this kind of makes sense, right? As I'm saying it, is Vonica's literally controlling whether or not someone on her squad dies. She can easily go like, you know what, you are useless, done. And their life is over. She's literally controlling their lives. These people are essentially dead. They're zombies. So I'm assuming if she just snapped her finger and took the curse away that kept them alive, they just drop dead. Not quite sure how it works, of course. I'm reading what you guys are reading. I'm only assuming. But this only makes sense that if she's Atropos, then we have a completed Moria. Now, what's the point of having the three sisters of fate? Now, as we get more into the story, it seems like we're still in the beginning of the arc. Tabata is still setting us up for something bigger. Because to reveal their plan with Klipov, which is a really big deal, and for Vonica to reveal, why they need Yami and William, is also kind of telling. It's kind of like, well, what's left of the story? Now all they need to do is just do it. Well, if you have me on Twitter, you've probably seen me say it before. This alludes to a much bigger picture where gods could get involved. Gods and actual forces of nature. This could end up being a bigger problem than we think demons are. Because if you catch up on Greek mythology and all that good stuff, gods are pompous assholes. I mean, if you play God of War, those guys are not the most reasonable. They pretty much fly to handle any chance they get. They're out there banging anything and anyone is like a swan, and they're crazy. They're actually out here wilding, and they might be more of a problem than demons are. But I mean, that's kind of all I have on the Norns. Oh, and to actually add one more thing on the Norns. Norn, these are women having to do with, supernatural power and whatnot. So it's kind of a blanket term. And one of the things that falls under that is Valkyries. Now, we know Noelle has the Valkyrie armor, and her mother also did. And they help aid in the fight against, all that stuff. So what's interesting is that the Norns, not the Norns, but the Moria's jobs are to sit at the foot of the Tree of Life, not at the foot, but at the roots of the Tree of Life, and continuously feed it water in order for the Tree of Life to, survive, right? Now, if we look at water mages throughout the series so far, ones I can name off the top of my head are, of course, Noelle, Laura Pachica, and Sister Lily. Now, something they all have in common is that somewhere in their water magic, a cross appears. And this could be telling of their roles. Magic is just not arbitrary. It's not something that you just randomly get. There's probably a much better purpose than fighting that you could be using for the betterment of the world, really. So I think somehow Noelle will end up falling in with the three Sisters of Fate, who will be two if Vonica doesn't come around, of course. But that is the easy scenario. The scenario that I'm alluding to are another set of sisters called the Grey. Now, these are typically viewed as old ladies, and of course it doesn't really fit Vonica's description, but one thing that is pretty kind of cool about the Grey is that between the three of them, and in some literature there's actually only two sisters, but we'll go with the three just to mirror the Mirai. But in the lore, these sisters share one eye and one tooth between each other. And what the eye does is help them see the future. Through all this bullshit, I believe it was Perseus who ends up stealing the eye and then holding it ransom so that they told him where and how to defeat Medusa. Who Medusa would be in Black Clover, if Medusa is a thing in Black Clover, I don't know. But I did want to throw that out there, that if Vonica is not, in fact, part of the Mirai, she would be part of the Gray. And my specific Twitter post, I said, if I find out Vonica has a dead sister, then I'm just going to go the fuck off. Because in the lore where there's only 2 Gray sisters, which is, I believe it actually is the more accepted piece of literature, then it would make sense that Vonica doesn't have that eye, or maybe she does and just covers it because, you know, magic. I don't know. I'm only guessing with you guys, but you guys are listening and I appreciate you. If you want to hit the like and subscribe button, that'd be cool. Also follow me on Twitter. But we're not done here. My last video, I kind of went over like Charmy's relationship with Fenrir and, you know, her whole thing. I'm really interested to see how that plays out, by the way. There's no reason why that wouldn't be Fenrir, and why, you know, why it's in sheep's clothing, the wool. It all makes sense. So I think we've debunked what and who Charmy is and what her role is. Now, I did allude to Asta being the key to stopping Ragnarok. Now, just to recap on the story a little bit, in the original story with Fenrir, before he was given to the dwarves, for the dwarves to look after to make sure he didn't get loose, what they did was they planted a sword in Fenrir's mouth so that he couldn't eat anything else and he couldn't get stronger and bigger. Now, I propose that one of the swords that Asta has could, in fact, go inside of Fenrir's mouth to make sure that he doesn't eat any more magic. Now, another thing is that another one of Asta's swords, okay, I'm so bad at the sword name, so I know Annihilator for sure. Demon Destroyer? No, that's Annihilator. Demon Slayer is the big one. So the Demon Slayer would stop Fenrir from eating any more magic, since the broadside really negates a lot of magic. It has more range, right? And then the other one I'm totally forgetting, because I'm not actually a fan of Black Clover. Ugh! Screw you, Jack. I'm unfollowing you on Twitter. I'm unsubscribing. Okay, whatever. I forgot the name, okay? But, you know, the small one with the... You can
it's called the Demon Dweller Sword, you idiot.
Anyway, that sword can be really useful, because if we do, in fact, see that Charmy has an issue with controlling Fenrir, and Fenrir's getting more and more out of control, which, if you want to see it or not, he really is, and Charmy's losing more control over herself. All Asta needs to do is get Charmy's consent to use her magic, to sap her. And if he can store mana in that sword enough to keep Charmy regulated and in control, then this gives Asta so much power, because he'll always have mana to use just in those clutch situations to absolutely destroy everything, right? This is just kind of like, you know, like fan, just like stuff that I think would be cool. Like that one thing I posted on Facebook, on Twitter, where like, just imagine, I know it's not a Naruto post, whatever, just go with me because I know most of you have seen Naruto. So like, imagine if like Choji just got like super big and then put Neji in the palm of his hand and he did the spinny rotation and he's got a freaking Rasengan in the form of Neji. Why was that never a thing? Like, he should have hit like the Gato statue with it. That'd have been sick. But it's like one of those things. So like, look, the Demon Slayer sword, the big one. You know, I gotta get it together because I lost it. All right, we're back. When Asta gets into his black state and then his sword just kind of takes into where the magic is, the strongest magic is, he's out of control. And he can somewhat regulate it now, but it's still not under his complete control. So how does he control it? So, like I said, if he decides to use that one sword I don't remember the name of to sap the mana from Charmy, and she's got a ton, if he's able to keep that mana in the sword, you know, even between fights, if he whips it out, that sword's going to automatically slam it against whatever sword he uses. It's just so much to keep track of.
It's the Demon Slayer sword.
You maybe slap together so that the magic is right there, and he doesn't have to fly anywhere. So maybe he would have more control, more leeway to go wherever he wants. I don't know. It's just one of those spitballing things. But as we're on the topic of Asta, I kind of came across this thing. So I was like really curious. I was like, there's so many theories on like who the anti-magic devil is, where Asta came from, and just all this other crap. And it's I mean, all of them are really cool theories. There's Asta's devil potentially being like his father, or like Darth Vader, and he's just gonna be, I don't know. And then you have like he's gonna be like the strongest demon, but we kind of know he's not, because it was just revealed that demons with stopgap magic are lower class demons, which is still, that's pretty cool. If you stopgap powers seem pretty broken. Gildray has one, captain level. What's his name? Damnatio, that's a stopgap. Pretty broken. I don't know, but anyway, where does this demon come from? Now, I have seen this fallen angel theory, and let me tell you, that's probably the closest to true, and I'll tell you why. I believe it's in Kabbalism, maybe, Hebrew religion. They have what's called the Thamiel. Now, the Thamiel were previously angels, and actually they were they represented duality of God, and that was before their fall. That's what they represented. Now, before their fall, what they tried to do to get stronger was add a left to their name. So, when you hear like an angel name, you hear like Samael or Raphael, something like that. You get Damael, and they believe that if they bared this left, they would be deemed stronger than they really were. Now, they fell from heaven into the lower depths of hell, and they became not the duality of God, but instead they became the division of what was perfect only in unity. I'm going to try and say that again. They became the division of what was... Let me get it together. Jack, come on. Get it together, man. They became the division of which was only perfect in unity. Now, I need you to understand that, because this kind of gets into what Asta is, or could be his role in this. Asta would be what's considered the Cathrael, I believe it's called. And the Cathrael is, well, in English blatant terms, is the broken, or the fearful of light. Now, it's kind of funny that it's put this way, right? Because when you look at the properties of the anti-magic devil, what does the anti-magic devil do? He separates the mana from the grimoire. So it's just him. He's godless. He's absent of that light, that life. Whereas Asta is also that way. He's a husk. He doesn't have mana. He's not capable of holding in mana. But when you have these things together, the anti-magic devil and Asta together, they somehow create this being that is almost transcendental of what Asta could be on his own and what the AMD could be on his own. And yes, I know it's kind of a rehashed theory, but this makes sense when you put the names on it and the lore behind it as well. Asta being the Cathrael and the AMD being part of the Thamael. This makes sense as to why they're able to mesh well together. Now, this also goes into this transcending part. Now that they're together, this kind of goes against the AMD's apparendus moda, right? Did I say that right? Apparendus motif moda. No, I said it right. I said it right because I'm good. All right. So it kind of goes against that because he's supposed to be the division of what is only perfect in unity, which is Grimoire Mana, right? That sort of stuff. So we've all noticed that when Asta gets further and further into his black form, he's growing more horns. Horns that the AMD doesn't have, horns that Asta doesn't have. And at first I thought they were kind of like consequences of, possibly WEG. But we would have saw Asta on that map full of like cursed people and demonic energy. And he wasn't there. So what that means is it could possibly be them actually transcending, creating a new being. And we see similar horns on Licht's demon, his perverted demon form. And none of the demons so far have displayed this horn pattern. It looks, there's more rings, it's more goat-like. Kind of shows that there's a different set of beings out there. Because even Zagrid told Licht, like, dude, that thing you turned into was like weird. Like even for a demon, that was kind of perverted, bro. Like Zagrid wasn't really about that either. So what could that be? I don't know. But I mean, that's what I have on it. You guys let me know what you think. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up in the comment section below. If you did like this video, put a like on it. If you hated it, because you hate me, dislike it. Do what you do. Unsubscribe. Do all the bad things, all right? I want nothing but hate comments below this, all right? Just kidding. I would really like some support, guys. Begging. But other than that, that's about all I have. I might put out one more thing because there's one thing that I haven't gone over that is a little too spicy for Twitter. But yeah, it all depends on, how I feel, what my time looks like. But I've held you guys long enough. I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Hit me up on Twitter. It's Jack Oats to Goat on Twitter. And I will catch you guys when I catch you guys. You either know or you don't.